How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today got a few more things done, just chipping away at some of the side missions mainly. My sturdy bridge still standing strong as well. Yeah, I was driving around, I was just uncovering some clouds at first. That's why I quite like driving. Here's a good example of why I quite like driving the Lynx, even though that there is nearly vertical, because it's muddy really. If it wasn't, I don't think this thing would grip in, but because it was kind of a bit of soft mud, it was alright. And then yeah, I nearly called it a day tonight and even making a video, because while I was driving around, either the trapped nerve or something in my back went, and you can tell about the exact moment it did. It was about now. It was like, ow, it's so painful. It's like getting electrocuted up the spine. It stopped me even being able to breathe for several seconds right now, and then it was like so painful, it was sort of making me laugh, but then that hurt. I tried reversing, went to go forward, it was like, oh hell no, I'm out for a bit. Like a goddamn professional though. But yeah, I saved the footage before I was out. Yeah, it's still hurting a lot now. Thankfully I've managed to find a way to sit where it's not like it's constantly electrocuting me. Yeah, so for a mission, doing transport wood and machinery to Pylkey or something. Pylkey sounds like an English insult. But oi, you fucking Pylkey. I say, what's that? And be like, you fucking silly bollocks. Yeah, deliver a vehicle, and it's, I can't remember the name of the vehicle, but I remember that it turns horrifically terribly and reverses very slowly. But there's also three objects I've got to deliver, slightly north of where it wants the vehicle, and using the like yellow gantry crane in the same yard, because this thing hasn't got a crane, yeah, kind of going to borrow the vehicle for a little bit to do the delivery part of the mission. Otherwise you just got to drive this thing separately. You're going to get most of the way there anyway. Yeah, I mean, there's one, an example of the terrible turning circle, and two, the horrific lack of speed when it's reversing. Not that I'd expect like supercar reversing levels, but this one is obnoxiously slow to reverse. Yeah, thankfully this yellow crane thing does actually have power to it. These are the three things you've got to take. There's one main bigger box and then the two smaller ones. Well, they're actually all different sizes. I'll show you in a sec, because it's one of them is like just wider than the sideboard, the other one's just slightly narrower than the sideboard. Yeah, using this crane is the controls on it are just horrific. I suppose in its defence there's a lot of different like things you can move backwards and forwards and all the rest of it, but still, it's only out of convenience that it's technically, I think anyway, quicker to do this, since it's going to force you to drive this vehicle most of the way anyway. You may as well get it loaded up and actually take some stuff while you're at it. Yeah, I didn't actually need to be as keen with making enough room in the sideboard as I was. They all fit pretty nicely. That's what she said. Yeah, as you can see though, the last one is actually like slightly narrow enough. Had to jiggle it around a little bit to get it in there, but got it strapped down. Yeah, this thing, you end up driving like, you have to predict the corner you want to take in about 5 or 10 truck lengths. I was going to go to the right, for no apparent reason to be fair, because the left, I mean, that's the proper British way. We left that yard. But yeah, you basically got to really plan ahead with this vehicle, because it is horrific with its turning. And for whatever reason, well, there's a little road going along the edge of these pipes, so I kind of figured I'll go that way. Not a chance in hell of making that corner, even though I started steering for it when I was halfway down the other side of that hill. Yeah, I left this bit in mainly, to show you that I just by chance I caught that on the telegraph pole, but then at this point I got completely locked, like I'm stuck, and I was kind of thinking, what the hell? I'm like, there's no tree stumps or anything, I'm not hooked on that telegraph pole, and when I look round, I don't know if it's like a glitch, so I'm just saying beware. It's like my front tyre is basically stuck to that pipe, but it's not wedged under it, and then eventually, after a little bit of jiggling around, it releases my tyre, and I'm good again. Yeah, edit out a bit of the reversing and all that, but yeah, I just ended up, this thing's not too bad at like climbing. It feels stable enough, at least with these boxes on the back. Maybe top heavier cargo might be a little bit sketchy, but it's got nice big wheels and all the rest of it, so in theory, although it did just beach itself on its chin there. One reason I left this in, you see the flag to the right of the screen. Obviously I was going to go to that, but because the pipe thing was blocking me, I kind of took a shortcut through here. And one good thing about how these self-delete is I basically skipped one of those flags out, because I hit the next one after that, it deleted both of them, which I think is a good thing, because it makes more sense, even if there might be some rare occasion where you didn't want it to delete the one previously or whatever if you've missed it. In the vast majority of cases, it's the logical thing you want it to do. Like in SnowRunner, there used to be sometimes you might go a slightly different way, miss one of the markers, and then you had to basically go into the map and manually delete it to sort of catch back up with yourself. Yeah, so I like that. That's a good addition they've done. Like, that's actually good planning for when we're doing lines and all the rest of it. And yeah, you don't necessarily have to keep being so keen on like driving next to the next flag you've put down, so it actually does self-delete it. Yeah, and then the frame rate, in this game, it really doesn't like me to be able to do one whole mission without finding some kind of glitch to catch me out. The frame rate took a nosedive, and then my steering was even less responsive, if that was possible. Yeah, so I kind of took a wrong line. I went to the, just quit to the main menu and back. Yeah, once I dropped those off, like say borrowing this vehicle to kind of do that part of it, thankfully you just have to drive into the zone and it sort of takes them all. It doesn't, there's not like where you have to unload them or something, which would make this mission a lot more of a pain in the ass. And at this point it's like, well, sorry farmer, I'm going to have to drive across your field because I ain't turning this thing to go around the edge. It really does have the turning of like a cruise ship. Thankfully, it's going to ride up the bank a little bit, but we got there, got that one in the bag. So transport wood and machinery to Pylkey. Again, I think that's how you pronounce it. So another mission, provide the water to the village. So where I've just dropped that vehicle off pretty much, in the same village, Pylkey. There's 2 water tanks at once. They're over at the water treatment plant. And I'm going to drive the mule I've got over at the steel mill. So kind of up here, through all those trees. It wants you to build a road there at some point. Over the bridges I swiveled back to being level. Yeah, otherwise I'd just recover the mule to like my own garage and kind of drive back to the same point that way. So I figured these are already over here from doing the previous mission. And yeah, obviously you're going to need a crane for this because you've got like 2 water tanks. And that, ow, you got to lift up. Overall, I actually quite like this vehicle. It's still a little bit meh with the gears and getting up to speed and all the rest of it. But it doesn't feel just like a carbon copy of the first mule. I do like the wider tyres. I think the it's a bit better at climbing, a bit better at not catching its chin. I do think it's a tiny bit more tippy, but not to a bad degree or anything. Yeah, it still feels like a completely separate vehicle. I cut a little bit out here just because while I was driving along I figured I may as well follow the road and ram some trees out of the way, because obviously at some point I'm going to have to come through it. You may as well just bring a mulcher at some point because there's tree stumps and all sorts. But yeah, a few less trees to knock down, chop down, all the rest of it. Obviously if it was a map where trees were a bit scarce I probably wouldn't, but I've got a mission where I've got to get 15 logs and deliver it to a section, but again there's plenty of trees on this map, so I'm not too worried. I purposely ran into this tree stump. I just wanted to see if, like, because of the height of the tyre, I thought maybe it'll sort of catch near the top and start tipping over. It does actually look like it might have moved a little bit, but I didn't stay too long. I just was quickly wanting to see while I'm driving past. Yeah, we need a way to get out into the middle of that island. I want to see that pump thing that's sat out in the middle of the lake thing on its own. I'll have to build a road out of sand if I have to. We will get over there. Loaf will have to investigate. Yeah, you can kind of cut through here. There's a lot of like crowded yards on this particular map. And as well, I noticed like a slight glitch with these bridges, but it's not doing it now. As you see, as I drive over it now, nothing weird that I can see anyway is really going on, but I'll explain on the way back what seems to be going on for some reason. Yeah, driving down to this water treatment plant, there's loads of different roads, but they've all either got like a big hole in the middle of the road, or there's one section that you can drive through, but it's got loads of cargo containers in the way, which, to be fair, I suppose I could move, I've got the crane. But anyway, I went to go this way. Originally I was thinking I could drive over this mud, and I probably could get away with it now, but I was more considering, like, would I make it back that way after I grab these water tanks? As there's 2 of them, I know I'm going to be loading them sideways on the sideboard, so they're not going to sit nice and flush. And then I thought maybe it should be able to get down here because the route doesn't look ruthlessly angled. And then, yeah, it just caught the bumper there, but after reversing and kind of getting a new line that the wheels haven't quite chewed up yet, once it got its chin up, it was like, yeah, it should be able to climb up. I mean, that's probably pushing it pretty close to the limit of, like, what that thing can drop into and climb out of, but still, worked how I wanted to. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, I think I spin the camera around, you can see, like, that's got a hole in the middle of the road, so's that one. And then, yeah, that one's just got a pile of containers in the way. Round here, so that's settling tank. That's the polite way of saying tank there. They wait for the ships to float to the top or something. Get both of them loaded in. And then for the most part, basically going back the way I just came. Except once I get like back to sort of the steel mill. I just drew a big line over that because I wasn't sure which route I was going to take. Obviously one of those roads. Yeah, down to this little skinny, sketchy ass bridge, through the trees, and then drop both of them off. Seems pretty simple. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, I was sticking to pretty simple missions tonight. It's like, ow. After I did my back, I went in laid down in a weird position for a bit, because sometimes at least does it say like when you just sat up straight it's not good, and obviously trying to sit in this chair to edit and all the rest of it. Yeah, eventually I came back and attempted it, but I was like, at this point I'm not going for any fancy missions. I wanted to get some of the side missions chipped away anyway, because there was quite a lot of them. And then now I was thinking, right, I could possibly go around the back of that crane, but then I was looking where that white box is. It was like, if I could drop down and get my wheels on that, maybe climb diagonally up the other side. So I thought, right, we'll go for it. We'll try and just jump over to that box. And then the game, again, with another little bug, it picks now to do a frame rate stutter. Completely ignores my steering and all the rest of it, because it was in the middle of stuttering. Yeah, so I just kind of, right at the point where I'm jumping off, it didn't listen to my lack of acceleration, my steering or anything, and then it fell over. So this is where quitting and reloading is quite handy, because thankfully, well, ish, I mean, I'm halfway down the hill, but it saved just as I was about to jump. But yeah, I'm kind of beached at this point because it won't let me reverse, so I thought, well, while my front end's hanging down here, I may as well see if we can climb over it. And for the most part, I mean, it was like, well, it's going kind of to plan. Try and scoot it back over a bit this way, but that is kind of what I wanted to do, and it gripped in, got out of there. I was like, oh no, don't hit the post. I mean, it did, but then it got past. Pretty happy with that. Again, yeah, this vehicle, like, decent enough anyway. Would certainly not OP or anything like that, but I mean, there's a good example of like both ways really. It kind of made it, but only just. And then, yeah, heading back across these bridges, you'll see what, like, firstly when I drive across this bridge, it looks like I'm just steering, like, just, I don't know, bad driving. But as I'm going along now, I was going pretty straight, and then my vehicle started swerving around, and I wasn't looking directly at my vehicle, I was kind of looking ahead at that point, so I spun the camera around thinking, what the hell was that? Like, why did my vehicle start swerving around all weird? But just put it down to, like, I don't know, maybe it was me. It's stranger things have happened. Could definitely be. Yeah, you can see the vehicle boats over. It kind of cocks its rear wheel up, but then it doesn't continue tipping. Obviously, it's tippable, but it calms down a little bit. And then, yeah, going along now does the same thing again. I'm kind of looking up ahead, really, but the vehicle kind of dips in, swerves around. I was thinking again, like, what the hell? It definitely, like, it's not me twice in a row just randomly swerving when I'm driving down a straight road. I was about to set off and I was like, nah, we need to reverse. For science, got to check. And if you keep an eye on the rear tyres in particular, I will move the camera around a little bit in a sec. They sort of sink through the bridge. You'll see now, they drop down, and that's what's kind of grabbing me and making the back end swerve around and all the rest of it. And then obviously when you get to the solid end of the bridge that was just always there, it kind of bumps back up and then, yeah, tries to act like nothing happened. Yeah, following this back, I think I cut a bit out because again I kind of ram a few more trees, but I'm essentially following what will be a road in the future. I don't think it's given me the mission yet, but that's part of the reason why I wanted to get some of these side missions done, because I'm only down to one main mission left. For what it's worth, by the way, this seemed to knock trees over quicker when I had the tanks loaded in the back. Yeah, because each map almost has like a few checkpoints where you fill those different green bars up. And you tend to know, like, when it gets you to a choke point of like only one main mission left, it's usually after that it might do some like little cutscene animation, but it'll generally like you're now on to the next stage, and it'll probably unlock 3 or 4 more main missions and all the rest of it. But yeah, yesterday or whatever, I had about 8 side missions all racked up, and still only 1 main mission left. So I just wanted to chip some of these away, so then when I do that main mission, I assume it'll jump a step ahead. But it appears Kelly won't be popping up to announce the good news that we've advanced a stage on the map. So yeah, this part, I mean, this does fit going across here. But particularly that you've seen the game's been doing it quite a lot tonight with that frame stutter where it does it every now and then. I'm surprised it didn't do it going across there. It normally seems to pick its moments where it's like when you actually could do with some precise steering. There, it did it there. Yeah, you could be driving along there and it just doesn't listen to some steering input you do, and that kind of throws you off a bit. Could have fell off because of that. Could have been health and safety nightmare. Climbing up here though. Quicker way to reconnect to the road. Through a little bit more of a forest. Seems if you hit like the trees with the fuel tanks at the side, they kind of fall over without snagging you as badly. And then yeah, I already knew when I'd looked like on the bird's eye view that it was going to be a bit of a tight squeeze through here. But I was hoping, like, get skinny, see if we can just pop through. And at this point I was like, that's not too bad, as long as I can get 1 fuel tank through, I'll be happy. Because I thought I'll try and poke it off the back with a crane, but then as I saw it was snagged on this building and that, I thought, yeah, I should be able to reverse and drive forward and all that. Eventually got it to wobble, fall off. Job's a good one. Get this strapped down. Thought, yep, we're almost home. And then, damn. I knew this would be close to the limit, but I'll be honest, I was hoping it'd kind of scuff its bumper on the ground, but still skid its way forward a little bit. It was having none of it, so long story short, put the crane to the side, detach my straps and grab this thing just to purposely make it kind of tip me over, really. But because I know the crane's tipping out to the side like this, I knew even if I fully fell over, my engine will still be running because the crane will stop me from going like fully 90 degrees. And yeah, tipping myself over, just at least 2 of the tyres had some grip to climb my way down off that wall. Faff around a bit here with the crane, but again, importantly, it doesn't stall the engine, just make me sit there. And at this point, to be honest, I should have just left it kind of dangling halfway out of the sideboard. I kind of did it all neatly, but I probably could have clipped it on that building and knocked it in there without getting the crane back out. It's not that it's that important, but it's like, damn, what a missed opportunity. Yeah, done. Provide water to the village. And then I was thinking at this point, like, I'm pretty much done, but then I had to have a little sneaky peek at another mission. There's this one I wanted to try. It's just retrieving the generator. It's in theory very easy. But I drove down the rocks on the live stream, and someone said in the comments they actually were just able to reach over with a crane, so I was kind of curious to try it. And I saw someone, it's just by chance, they said in the comments earlier, why didn't I use my crane legs when I was grabbing these canisters and all the rest of it? Here's a good example. Like, this is why, for grabbing the canisters, I didn't need to deploy the crane legs. I did deploy them, as you can see, they were deployed when I came back to the crane to lift the entire train carriage, but that is why, because you have to get that close, and then the crane legs stick into those railings and all the rest of it and flick your vehicle around. And whilst I was picking up delicate, lightweight containers, yeah, I kind of didn't really need unpredictable vehicles flying around and snagging all over the place, because the crane legs kind of got glitched into the railings. Probably would have threw the canisters around. So, but the time when I did pick up like the train carriage, I did have them deployed, but it didn't matter because it still made me do an endo and all the rest of it. Yeah, in the end I reversed it. I thought I'll try here. That kind of metal arch thing I went underneath, I think that is actually an invisible hitbox, and at first I was like, oh, it's not going to reach it. And then yeah, after scanning through enough different random pieces of crap, it found them. I overshot it, but then yeah, I was like, good, at least it can find it. It'll scroll back through. Got it a bit snagged on the cliff. Moved it over. Yeah, you can see, yeah, it does. It phases through that, like, white archway thing, so I didn't actually have to specifically like thread the crane underneath it. And then yeah, that made this mission a lot simpler. I didn't even have to move from where I was in the end. It was like I was a bit early there. I was a bit disappointed with myself. Like, could have got that in one. Done. Retrieve the generator. I mean, at this point, I'm up to level 20, but don't really need any more points. It's a bit like SnowRunner, really. After a while, it just became like, I don't know what they could keep doing, because I suppose there's a point where you have to stop the levels eventually, but in both games, you seem to max out the level way before you've finished all the missions and all the rest of it. Bit of a dreary thumbnail, but again, it's like, that'll do. The footage I got. Yeah, 24%, not too bad. Near enough a quarter away through the map so far. Was it 4 infrastructure, 9 completed objectives, 6 side objectives. There's a good look at the map where the clouds are mostly gone, so you can actually have like a bit of a bird's eye view of what it looks like. There's all the missions, pretty similar. I didn't do any more main objectives or anything, but I just keep putting the stats up, so if I ever need to look back, they're always there. Yeah, that's about it for today, though. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it helps. Thanks for watching. Get yourself a loaf, because he's a whopper. I'll be back soon.